Today was the day Thidwick happened to know that old horns come off so that new ones can grow, and he called to the pests on his horns as he threw 'em. You wanted my horns, now you're quite welcome to 'em. His old horns today are where you knew they would be. His guests are still on them, all stuffed as they should be. This is from the book Thidwick the Big-Hearted Moose, written and illustrated by Dr. Seuss. This book was read to my father by my grandmother when he was a boy, and he read it to me as a child. My grandma recently passed away, and in honor of her, I'd like to read you part of this book. Up at Lake Winnebago, the far northern shore, lives a huge herd of moose, about 60 or more, and they all go around in a big happy bunch, looking for nice, tender moose moss to munch. Up at Lake Winnebago, one day they were lunching, just strolling along and enjoying their munching, for the moose moss that day was especially fine, when it happened that Thidwick, the last moose in line, saw a bingle bug sitting. The bug called out, "Hey! It's such a long road and it's such a hot day. Would you mind if I rode on your horns for a way?" "Of course not," smiled Thidwick, the big-hearted moose. "I'm happy my antlers can be of some use. There's room there to spare, and I'm happy to share. Be my guest, and I hope that you're comfortable there." So the bingle bug picked out a nice easy seat, and the moose went on looking for moose moss to eat. Well, an hour or so later, the bug heard a squeak, and he heard the small voice of a tree spider speak. "I say," said the spider, "you've got a fine place. That moose seems quite friendly, has such a nice face. If I got on too, do you think he would mind?" "Hop aboard," laughed the bug, "and I think that you'll find that the moose won't object. He's the big-hearted kind." "I accept," said the spider, "with joy and delight," and he started a web on the horn to the right. While the spider was spinning, he heard a gay song, and a fresh little zinazoo bird came along. He stopped, and he stared, and he chirped, "Well, well, well! What a smart place to build! What a great place to dwell! I've been living on trees ever since I was born, but here's something new. Why not live on a horn? If there's room there for two, then there's room there for three." "There's plenty of room," laughed the bug, "and it's free." Thidwick stopped walking. What was all that talking? These guests had caught Thidwick the moose unawares. "Hey!" he called out. "What goes on there upstairs?" "Just building a nest, sir," the zinazoo said, and began yanking hairs out of poor Thidwick's head. And he plucked out exactly 204. "Don't worry," he laughed, "you can always grow more." Then he dozed off to sleep in his fine moose-haired nest. "This bird," muttered Thidwick, "is sort of a pest. But I'm a good sport, so I'll just let him rest, for a host, above all, must be nice to his guest. Besides now, it's getting quite late in the day, and surely tomorrow they'll all go away." But alas, the next morning, the sun's early light brought to Thidwick's sad eyes a most unwelcome sight. "Meet my wife," said the bird. "I was married last night. And perhaps by the way I should mention to you that her uncle is coming to live with us too. You're a very fine host, so I knew you'd be willing." Then the uncle, a woodpecker, started in drilling. All Thidwick's friends shouted, "Get rid of those pests!" "I would, but I can't," sobbed poor Thidwick. "They're guests."